Step 6, lights, camera, action. All right, so we've got our pieces, we've got our story, we know how we're going to tell it, we know those key scenes that we've drawn out in our comic strip of our one-sentence story. How do we actually turn this into an animation? So I recommend using the stop motion app on your phone. It's very helpful, but you can also do this using normal photos and then putting them into a PowerPoint and then scrolling through them at the end. But the stop motion app on your phone is going to be really good for this and have a couple of extra tools in there that make doing the stop motion easier. And it is free to download. So I highly recommend you download that. I use it all the time. And before we get started, just a little bit of a background on stop motion. So in stop motion animation, what you're basically doing is you set up a scene, you take a picture, and then you move the pieces just a little bit, and then you take another picture. And every movement is sort of animating it as you go. So if you're trying to show a plant growing, you might have one picture where there's just little roots, and then one picture where there's a tiny sprout, and then the next one has a little bit more sprout, and then a little bit more sprout, and a little bit more sprout, and you keep going until the plant is totally grown. And so in getting that sequence of the plant starting as just roots and going into being a fully grown plant, you might wind up taking 25 different pictures of it slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's totally normal. A 1-minute stop motion animation is probably going to end up with somewhere between 100 and 300 photos in it. It sounds like a lot, but trust me, it's not that bad. A lot of these motions are just like push the little piece, take a picture, push a couple more pieces, take a picture. And in the app, when you're doing this, it'll show you exactly how many pictures you've taken. And at any point in time, you can go back and watch what you've done so far to make sure it looks how you're expecting it will look. This is a great part if you're a little bit younger to work with a parent, a teacher, or your peers to make sure that you are doing this correctly and using the app correctly. So the general sequence that you're going to do is you're going to take a picture with that app, and then you will move your pieces less than a centimeter each. So small movements. If you move them too much at a time, it doesn't look like an animation. It just looks like a bunch of photos going by too fast. You want it to be little movements, so it actually looks like the pieces are moving smoothly across your scene. And then you take another picture, and you do that over and over and over and over again. This is something that takes a little bit of practice. Sometimes you think you're doing tiny motions, and then you look at your stop motion that you've done, and it's like way too big of motions. You can totally redo it. That's fine. It's absolutely okay to try this in little chunks and then sort of refine and back up and then try it again. It might not be perfect the first time you go through. That's okay. What is really key in this step, though, is you have to keep your phone very still. You don't want to have it going all over the place as you're taking the pictures, or they're not going to line up on top of each other very well. In the stop motion app, one thing you can do is change the transparency so that you can see a little bit of your previous photo and make sure everything's lined up really nice. You can keep it lined up by hand, but I really strongly recommend using a tripod or sort of holding your phone in place on a table or on a book or leaning it up against something so that it's always at the same angle. I think it's a lot easier like that. There's a lot of tripods that you can get pretty cheap online. A lot of libraries have them where you can check them out for free and borrow them and then bring them back. Tripod makes this a lot easier. So if you have access, I highly recommend using it. To get started with the stop motion app, you are going to open it up on your phone or tablet, and then you'll push the new movie button, and that's going to start you a new little project. You can make as many of these as you want. You can delete them if you don't like them. That'll get you going. The button that is shaped like a camera in the top right will take you into picture taking mode. Once you're there, it should look sort of like a camera interface like you would normally see on your phone, but with grid lines over it. The button to take pictures is going to be on the right, and it's going to be big and red. And then you'll also see that there are some settings you can adjust, a few sliders if you want to add like filters or things. There's a timer mode as well. And if you click that, then it'll like count down from 3 and then take a picture, and count down from 3 and then take a picture, or you can just push the button and it'll take it when you push the button. One thing to be careful of is you don't want to have your hands in the scene when you are pushing that picture button. Otherwise, there's just going to be a big phantom hand creeping around during your animation. If you want to see what you've already done, you can hit the play button down beneath that picture taking button, and that'll show you all the pictures you've already taken so far, so you can review your stop motion, see if it looks the way you want, and if it does, then just go ahead back to camera mode by pushing the camera button on the right, and then you can go continue taking your pictures. When you push that gear button, that you might see on your screen, that's going to take you into a settings area where you can adjust things like the frames per second, so you can speed up or slow down your animation. You can also change the quality from like 4K or 1080p or whatever resolution it's set at. You can adjust that there. You can add filters, you can crop it. So this is a good time for everyone to go on and make their stop motion. Start pushing those pieces, taking those pictures. If you need to see examples of what your screen should look like on your phone, there are a bunch of screenshots in the participant guide and the workshop guide for this as well. So you can see what the actual app should be looking like, these different steps of the way. When you are all done and you want to export your movie, you're like, I'm going to share this with everyone. I'm going to send it to my mom. I'm going to email it off, whatever. Then you are going to hit the select button on the home screen of the app. It's going to be in that top right corner. And then you will select the story that you liked, the one that you finished recording and you're happy with the way it came out. And then once it's selected, then you can hit the share button or export it. And that's how you get it out of the app into either a movie file or a GIF file. You can save that on your phone. You can directly share it with someone via messages or email or whatever. So you've seen a couple of examples throughout these videos so far of the steps I've taken to prepare my one-sentence story. And if you want to see the final product, you can follow the link in the guide to see it posted on YouTube, how my stop motion came out. Now, keep in mind, I've done a few of these before, and it took me still, about an hour to prepare all the pieces, and then another half hour, 45 minutes to film it. So this isn't going to be something you can do super fast. It takes time and it takes practice to make it good. So if you're not super happy with your first version, that's 100% okay. You can redo it, you can change it, you can try again. I've tried many, many, many times to get these to where I want them. This is definitely a skill. It's not something that you're either just good at or bad at. It's something that you can practice and get better at.